Hour 2 Overdrive continues. Brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Bryan Hayes, the O-Dog Jeff O'Neill, Frankie Corrado, and Luke Willson around the table.
Say no
to Geppetto Bot Farmers.
Say no
to Geppetto Bot Farmers.
What a shirt!
I should have had the tee
Dude,
on.
Dude, you did me dirty. You were supposed to have yours on. I put it on in the commercial break. This is not something you bring out if you're going to get it wrong.
I'm in a shambles right now.
Look up close, people. Look up close. There's Al's brother. There's Al's brother right there, and that's Hayes, his little brother right there.
Yeah, I know. Al's brother, you're at the forefront of that. Al's brother, you want to respond to any of this? Al's brother's back there producing right now. Yeah, that is a cool looking shirt.
It's a cool shirt.
Yeah, it's not accurate anymore because we've been hounding you guys for weeks.
You're +3 again. 2 a jam.
Yeah, we're -3.
The Finns aren't frauds.
We're -3 right now. I mean, it's really again, we're going to week 11. We are running out of time here, but this is a tough week, tough game tonight.
No, we're on it. We're on it.
You guys feel good about this game tonight?
About it.
I think I know where you're going because O tipped me off.
No, we haven't. We honestly haven't really talked. We have a mutual respect where he knows that he's going to pull the trigger. I just said that I kind of like the kid in wash, and I don't know. I like his vibe. But Artsy, you're going to save that for later.
You're going to save it for later?
You want to go? You tell me.
Well, listen.
I need the official line from Doogie's MIA today.
Yeah,
so
Doogie. I think Doogie might be at the Eras Tour tonight.
Owen, do not jam me because you're sitting next to Al's bro. That guy's a scumbag.
A total scumbag.
What
is the line?
What is the official line on FanDuel?
No, not from Al's bro.
Al's brother.
It's still 3.5. Okay. We're looking at a 3.5 line, which is outrageous because it's different numbers elsewhere. It's 3.5 right now. Is what we're working at. We'll see in 10 minutes if it moves.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Why don't we give it another 10? Because I have a feeling there could be some money moving this line. Is the division officially on the line tonight?
I don't think officially. I think that both teams are very good football teams, but not necessarily, they both have a couple question marks that I think some can answer tonight, but I'm not ready to put the stamp as hey, this team is legit. I look at the Lions last week, complete fluke to me. Jared Goff is not going to continue to play that way.
Right.
And they're still in a tight division because they got to win some games, but the Lions are who they are despite the fluke, where, I look at the Eagles and their defense has actually been great this year, but you look at this win streak and who they've played, it's Deshaun Watson, it's Trevor Lawrence, it's Daniel Jones.
Soft skid.
Very, very, even the Bengals are probably their best win. Dallas, the Bengals are probably their best win. If the Bengals aren't playing the Baltimore Ravens, their offense is it's seemingly, unless it's the Ravens, their offense is not that good.
Right.
So, I think that there's some question marks there in Philadelphia. And, Washington's still a very young team. You have a rookie quarterback, you never know.
That's where I go for this game tonight. Under the lights, Thursday night in Philly, the crowd is going to be going nuts. He has checked a lot of boxes.
Yeah.
But this one feels very significant.
What tier
for Daniels tonight?
What tier of quarterback does he where does he fall now, and where can he get to as far as tiers of quarterbacks in the NFL?
I think eventually he could be the best guy. I really believe that. Obviously not now, but to me, I think you look at, depending on what kind of offense you want to run, what kind of personnel you have around it, your top 3 are going to be Mahomes, Lamar, Josh Allen. I know Bills fans will kill me for this, but I would have Allen 3 there. And that's not a slight against Allen.
I mean, he's still number 3, yeah.
Yeah, the other 2 guys are outrageous.
Yes.
And then your next tier of guys, if you're talking about just this year, you've got to put Jaden Daniels in the conversation. And the thing I like about his game is that it's not one of those things where he's just relying on one guy. I look at Daniel Jones, obviously the opposite tier here. But when he had some success this year, it was Malik Neighbors had 16 targets, and caught 12 of them. So it was Daniel Jones was basically sitting back and being I'm throwing this to Malik Neighbors.
Right.
Where Jaden Daniels, to me, when I watch him, I feel like for a rookie, he processes the game well. You see Scary Terry getting catches. You see Zach Ertz. You see Eckler out of the backfield. I mean, it's by committee. Obviously, Scary Terry is their best guy, but it's not just him. Noah Brown has had some big plays.
Robinson Jr. is playing tonight, too. It's not like he's back in the backfield, which is big.
So I am very impressed with just how comfortable he looks and how he processes the game back there. A guy that we're also going to see tonight. I don't love the way he plays the game of football. For me, is Jalen Hurts. I find Jalen Hurts is a wild athlete.
He is wild, Partsy. Do you not think that Philly, like with that quarterback and that coach, they're just going to be good enough to have a great record and then somehow find a way to fizzle out?
Yes. Like this will be I don't think their defense has been great again. Tonight's a big test for them. But O-Dog, you said it where it's like, to me, the way they play, the style, the weird coaching mistakes, the coach yelling at fans after the game, like how sustainable is that when you're playing good team after good team? Could they win tonight? Absolutely. It's going to be a great game. It's Thursday. A lot of weird things happen on Thursdays. But is this a team where, down the stretch, if they need it, or into the playoffs, you're going to expect them to rattle off 3 playoff wins? I have a hard time believing that.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Okay, we'll get to your pick in a moment. We'll see if that line moves. Al's brother, keep me posted. In terms of the game of the weekend in the NFL is undoubtedly Bills-Chiefs in that late afternoon window. It's just a phenomenal game. Harrison Butker's on the IR. He's having surgery to his non-kicking knee, so he is not playing. We don't know if Cooper is going to play for the Bills. Amari Cooper, he's optimistic he's going to play, but we're not sure. Who would have a bigger impact on the line or the outcome of this game? Butker not playing or Amari Cooper not playing?
To me, Amari Cooper. I get, kickers, and everyone knows.
But they are important.
They're very important. And Harrison Butker is best of the best.
Yeah, exactly.
But where I go with this, Hayes, and where I get nervous for the Bills this weekend is what has gotten no publicity with this Chiefs team is how great their run defense is. Right now, they give up 3.6 per average, which is great for number 2 in the NFL behind the Ravens, who are at 3.4. And I think that part of the reason the Ravens are at 3.4 is also because their pass defense is so pathetic that teams are just, why do we need to run? Right. Why don't we just torch these bums? So you sit here and they're, again, in my position, I think they're number 1 in the league run defense. And I'm not saying the Bills are going to try and run the ball. That'll be a great matchup to see what happens. But why I say Amari Cooper when you ask that question is now all of a sudden you've got to throw at some point you're going to have to throw against this defense. Mm-hmm. And they've got good DBs, and we've talked about it ad nauseum on here about Steve Spagnuolo and the schemes that he runs on defense and the pressures and the different looks, etc. Having a veteran guy like Amari Cooper who can go out there and win is a huge ordeal. And I'm not saying the other guys can't, but right now, if you were asking me, even though he's new, hey, you've got Shakir, you've got Keon Coleman, a rookie, Kincaid, obviously a young guy, Knox, your number 1 guy is Amari Cooper. Mm-hmm. This guy's been there, done that with multiple quarterbacks. You need a play on third down. You should be looking for Amari Cooper's way. Right. And without him in there, I think it's going to be very, very tough sledding. But the good news for Bills fans is you got Josh Allen, and he can make plays.
He is the great equalizer, man.
Yes.
And at home and during the regular season, he's been very successful against Kansas City.
Which is, again, not an easy task.
Right.
So I don't know who's going to end up calling that game.
That's your game, I believe.
I'll tell you right now, we're going with the Chiefs.
I knew you were going with the Chiefs.
But
you're getting plus points with the Chiefs.
You have to take it.
It's almost an auto bet. It is, but I think the Bills are going to win this game, man.
I don't.
I like the
happening.
Bills this weekend. Look, did you just hear what he just said? I just don't see this happening.
It's in trademark right now.
This guy's turning into Al's brother.
Yeah. Do not say that.
I totally. You were spewing stats that just tickled me. It tickled me, Luke.
The 3.4, the 3.6.
Oh yeah, getting in there, run defense. Rush per. I loved it. I love
jammed.
it, Luke.
Hey, it's almost like
I
you actually played.
Yes. I know. It is. It's funny how that works. I looked over when you were dropping those stats, and Al's brother was so horny behind the glass. He was like, "I love that stat. That's a great one. 3.6. I'll make sure to do that in the future and drop that bomb." But
yes,
let me ask you something. If you're the Chiefs, okay, it's an undefeated season so far. You got the Bills. We were talking about it earlier. There's only a couple games on the schedule here the rest of the way, where they could actually lose this thing. If you're in that room and you played for Seahawks teams that were really good, right? Yeah. there's probably been some games, let's say, like where things may have got glossed over because you won. Does that happen with this group? Like, because they've won some games where they didn't have their A stuff.
Yeah.
Like, do they need a loss to kind of just like put the magnifying glass on some things?
I don't think so. I get like young, immature team. I would say yes. But with these guys, you got Kelsey in there. You've got Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, even though he's not that old, I would consider him a wily veteran at this point. I think that they are in control of that message in the locker room. And the next thing is, I know there's still a lot of games to play, but when you get to this point where you are past halfway and you haven't lost a game, guys realize like, hey, we shouldn't need a loss to wake us up. They have the opportunity to do something wildly special. Everybody talks
the heavy
about
lifting's
the
been done by now.
Yes.
Like nine games in, like you're already halfway home.
Yes. And it's like, get this thing over the hump.
You guys got a Taylor Swift concert going on at this place. I don't know
Get
what's
this
happening.
thing over the hump.
Yeah.
Find a way to beat the Bills, and you're legends forever.
Yeah.
Forever. I mean,
That's
look
right.
at the undefeated Dolphins team will forever be talked about.
72 Dolphins.
72 Dolphins until somebody does it.
And like this, it would be the ultimate cap to win your third straight Super Bowl undefeated. It makes you probably the greatest team of all time.
I don't know if that's happening, man.
I hear you. I wouldn't put money on it, but
the argument now becomes if they do that. We're playing hypotheticals.
You're the greatest dynasty of all time.
Of all time.
Yes.
To win 3 Super Bowls in a row and the third one be undefeated.
Yes.
Like you're talking, is it the 28 Yankees?
27 Yankees.
27, yeah, I should know that. The 27 Yankees. That's
where you are now. You're the 27 Yankees. You're the 85 Oilers get brought up with Gretzky and Messi.
And I think the argument is that you're better than all these teams.
Yeah. The 97, 98 Chicago Bulls. That's where you are, and I think you would have a mic drop on all of them.
Correct.
Because like that Bulls team, that was their three-peat.
For sure.
And they won 72 games that year.
Which was sick. And
Which is
there's the
asinine.
Last Dance. There's a million.
Yes. But this one would be it's
insanity.
Just to think about that.
Yes.
It's even tough to even
and they're
fantasize
going to
about.
have it. I would say right now that the AFC, they're going to have to win some tough games.
They're in Pittsburgh, I think, week 17.
Tough game.
They're at Denver, which Denver plays them well within
Denver's
the division.
really looking a lot better. Buffalo, obviously.
Yeah.
Would you be surprised if they're probably going to see Baltimore in the playoffs? They're going to have to win that. So
That's
again,
right.
like you said it, Pittsburgh, like this team, they've had a couple games they should win, but they will have some very, very legit wins if they do it.
It'd be incredible. And the Mahomes Brady conversation would just take on a different level as well because
that's going to always happen. I think Brady is until you get close to that number 7, it's like no way.
I hear you.
It's going to happen though anyway.
But that's if he three-peats and does what Tom couldn't in 07 and finish the perfect season.
And then that's number 4 for him, correct?
That would be his 4th win, yes. And he's been to the Super Bowl 5 times because they lost to Brady and the Bucks.
You sound like other people. You sound like other people comparing people to Jordan, where they're just reaching and trying and trying. It's 7 is 7, man.
Yes, I hear you. And listen, I've been pro Brady, and I still am on that. What I'm saying is, if you were to do this, then it's just something Brady didn't do. That all of a sudden
you go undefeated and win 3 in a row.
Yeah,
I think that
It's tough to argue against.
It
gets tougher to argue.
My mind's blown. I
know.
can't even fathom.
It gets tougher and tougher to keep making a case against it.
Yes.
Is what I guess I'm saying. And
I
might take on that challenge, don't get me wrong, but
what are you going to do that Brady didn't do? You're going to win 8?
Yeah.
Okay, but if you actually do something that Brady couldn't do, now we're talking. Now it actually becomes a real conversation, not just look at the numbers in the regular season because they're so good and Brady didn't do that. This is on a higher level.
For sure. And I also would say that one of the things about Brady that you appreciated as a player was outside of the year they lost with Randy Moss in the undefeated year, he had good players around him. But, later he had Gronk, obviously, was a tremendous guy. But in those early years, there was never really a perennial, Hall of Fame guy, it felt like. Where that's one of the cool things about Patrick Mahomes. I mean, look at this year where it's they were hoping to have Hollywood Brown and Rashee Rice, both of which, Rashee Rice obviously played a bit and was hurt, your starting running back goes down, Pacheco. Mm-hmm. Kareem Hunt's played great. Now, they did just get DeAndre Hopkins, but my point is, like, it's not that easy. I mean, I love to praise this guy, but look at Devontae Adams going on the Jets.
Yeah.
Hasn't looked very good.
No, it hasn't.
And all of a sudden D-Hop comes in. Like, you've got to tip your cap to Patrick Mahomes because outside of Kelsey, it's been a revolving door around him as well.
Yeah, it has. It has. And, speaking of Adams and the Jets, I guess Rodgers said this week he thinks he'll play next year.
Yeah. This is what I'll say. I know a lot of things are made out like this, and Frankie and O-Dog, I don't know if hockey is similar to this, but starting in year 4, every single year in the NFL, you'll get towards the end of the year and be like, especially if you're not in a great situation, this is my last. Like, you know what? I've got enough money. I'm done. And then you take about 3 weeks and you're chilling. You're sitting around. I would bop down to Newport Beach in Cali, and I'd be like, okay, I'm not done. The year I played in Detroit, most miserable I've ever been playing football. I'm looking around like I'm going back to school. Like I'm done playing football.
Yep.
2 weeks later, 2 weeks later, I'm like, okay, I got to figure out where I'm playing next year.
Yeah.
So at this point of the year, the drama they've had, and it's self-induced. It is self-induced. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it, but they've played terrible. Their record's terrible. It's not good. I get why he's like, I'm thinking about it. Every single veteran guy at this point of the year who's on a losing team, the thought has crossed, should I retire?
Right. Doesn't want to work out, doesn't want the diet, doesn't want to grind through camps.
You put yourself through hell physically
go
and mentally.
They're 3-7 right now?
Right.
Yes.
Like if you're on Carolina, how miserable is that right now?
God,
and
Frankie.
then your coach is yelling at you every day. Yeah, I get it.
Every day.
My conversations were a little different on the bus in the American League, like sitting around at 2 a.m. with guys. Like, if it ended tomorrow, what would I do? Would I be like a mortgage broker, or should I get my real estate license?
Right.
And then you realize, screw it, man. If they're still willing to cut me a check, I'm not going anywhere.
Exactly.
Right?
More fun to play hockey
than
football for that. I mean, again, like you said, it's such a gruesome sport. It's a grinding sport, tough. If you get out healthy, that feels like a big win, man.
That was scary not to go
part
down.
of it
but
too,
I
right?
remember not so much my first year, but all of a sudden, you play 3-4 years, you get a relationship with guys that are older. So my second year, the guys that were in their 5th, 6th, become pretty close with. They end up retiring a couple years later, and then you see him back at the facility, and it'd be like, oh, yeah, I haven't seen so-and-so for 3 years. And he comes in, you're like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
Like, how does it look like he has drop foot?
Just barely getting through the door. And
it was scary for me when I'm like, I haven't seen, this teammate of mine who I had a ton of respect for 3.5 years, and he was an elite, world-class athlete 3.5 years ago. He was not that.
Yeah.
This man's struggling to walk right now.
That's scary. And that's when you see the vets with a pair of Skechers and a 4-inch shoe on it or rubber on it just
scary.
to make sure that they can walk through the door or whatever.
How many
get in
heat
and out
packs
of the car.
a day would guys like that would have to have 4 heat packs on to get things going in the morning?
Yes, and that's the next scary one. And it happened to me later. But when you're in your early 20s, you're sitting there, you warm up, you do your thing, the music's going, here we go. And then all of a sudden I'm playing at 30 years old, and I'm like, I've got to do an hour warm up to be ready for the warm up. And I'm looking around thinking to myself, I remember looking at that veteran guy, what is that guy doing over there?
Yeah.
It's if I don't do this, something's being blown out and my career's over today at practice.
I love those because you can see it with you look at Kelsey now. Kelsey, I find that the older the guy gets, the more likely his shirt's tucked into his long johns.
Yes.
It's he's out there, and to your point, he's just trying to get a sweat on.
Yes.
And you can tell that guy's been in the league a long time.
Yeah.
That guy, he just looks older and weathered. And
also with guys like Kelsey, and the first guy that I really understood this was with Jimmy Graham, and me and Jimmy are still pretty close. But you don't realize that, okay, let's say the second string tight end in Kansas City plays the exact same amount of snaps as Travis Kelsey. Well, yeah, tough game, tough on the body. But Travis caught 10 balls yesterday. So if those aren't all touchdowns,
he's getting hit.
He's getting tackled 10 times.
Yeah.
And some of these are vicious hits, even though it might not come off on camera oh, he got smoked. This is full speed, collisions here where guys are doing everything to smoke them.
Mm-hmm.
That adds up. So a guy like Kelsey who's caught thousands and thousands of yards. It's like, man, you also got to think all of those years he's played, plus all the tackles. The fact that he's still doing it at a high level is wildly impressive.
Pretty incredible.
And when you're done, you can just wake up a random time and be like, yeah, that's the hit from so-and-so. That's when I got you get paid a lot, and it's a great life, Partsy, but there's some mornings you wake up and you're like, yeah, there's a price for it, too.
Yeah, O-Dog, I remember, funny, this was a thought I had today, but I was in Oakland the one year in camp, land on my shoulder, and it just can't feel it. I'm like, what's going on? So I go get the MRI and the ortho there, and I didn't have a good relationship with anyone because I hadn't been there long enough. And he's like, hey, man, I got some news. Brings me in his room. This is the ortho. I don't even know his name. He goes, you have maybe the oldest-looking shoulder I've ever seen for a 30-year-old man. He goes, you're probably going to need to have this replaced in 5 years. And I can't use the profanity on the show. Shoulder. I remember sitting there thinking, like, what an absolute donkey. Like, this guy's got no idea what he's talking about. I'll be fine in a week. I'm 34 now. I was there at 29. The last doctor I talked to was like, dude, you're about 1 year away from shoulder replacement. Jesus. And I feel every single second of that. And it brings me right back to being in that room with the doc, thinking he was the dumbest person on planet Earth.
Dude, you should call the guy and just say, remember back when you told me? You were right. You were right, Partsy.
Just the oldest shoulder ever. Just a weathered shoulder.
I think his line was, I usually see this in 7-year-old men. And I'm like, get out of here, dude.
Can you replace his shoulder? Like, what kind of surgery options do you have for a shoulder?
I refuse to look. The thing just does, I can move it around, though. I just can't move it over my head.
Yeah.
Why do I need that?
How's that working with a golf game? You got the swing cooking these days? Or
not good.
It's
not great.
You got the John
more
Rahm
rotation on that thing.
It's not great.
Yeah,
it's not great.
You got to get those arms rotating, man. You got to get those things moving. All right, Al's brother, what is the final call here on the spread? It's got to be Eagles 3.5. Is it FanDuel 3.5?
Yeah, we're still looking at 3.5 on the Eagles here, boys.
All right, Al's brother, keep your mic on there because these guys will make their pick, and I want your response.
Partsy, feel free to come in over the top here. I'm going to do a little spiel. I want to know where your head's at, but I think we're on the same page. It's a tough game to call. Thursday is always a bit of a wild card with the short week. You dig into the numbers on this thing because I did dig in, similar to Al's brother, and you say, hey, Philadelphia's got a lot of things going on defense. However, I actually watch the games. I watch every single NFL game, Partsy, and I do not love the way Philadelphia plays on offense. I think it's very fundamentally unsound. It's big player bust. Saquon is the ultimate eraser on that because he is dynamic. But Jaden Daniels throws the ball extremely well. He's confident. Clint Kingsbury, his OC, and him look great. 3.5 points is a bridge too far for me. I love this kid. I love the Commanders. And the final note I will say is if it comes down to a tight game and a coach's decision, I'm taking Dan Quinn 10 out of 10 times.
Turn the hat backwards, baby.
Let's go.
All right.
Commanders with 3.5. I think we're in good shape. We'll go to +4, and I've been talking over 3 weeks. If we get this one tonight, Partsy, we got to bury him. We're letting him linger around, and it's my fault. Al's brother can't pick a winner to save his life. Hayes has saved him a little bit. They got jammed up by Tua. We got to get back to +6 or 7 this week. Starts tonight.
Okay.
Such an
How
idiot
can
here.
you not
Such
beat
an idiot.
people that look like this? That's Al's brother's face. That's his face.
Al's brother, please respond because we're on the Eagles tonight laying 3.5.
Oh, fly, Eagles, fly, fellas. Fly,
I can
Eagles,
tell
fly.
you don't believe that, Al's
yeah.
brother.
Are
I
you
can tell
kidding
you don't
me?
I love the
believe that.
Eagles tonight.
Because
Really
I
Love 'em.
know you looked into the numbers. You aren't absolutely terrified by Saquon Barkley going up against the league's 29th ranked run defense. That doesn't scare you tonight?
No, not with
Could
Dan.
terrify you.
I'll tell you how Dan's going to run this. So Dan's going to basically be all hands on deck, and then he's going to tell his boys to play very, very soft. Do not get beat deep. We can't give up big plays to A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. What Dan Quinn's going to do is be all hands on deck to stop the run, make Jalen Hurts nickel and dime you down the field. And he might do it a bit, but I don't think he's going to consistently do it because he hates doing it. He'll make a mistake, and the next thing you know, this 3.5 will be covered.
I don't see it, man. I love the tush push tonight to put us over the top, Al's brother.
At least twice.
Yes.
At least twice we'll see a nice little tush push. And I got to tell you, man, this Eagles team has definitely turned it around. Let's be honest. Early in the season, didn't look good. But our guy, Vicky Fangio,
Yes.
has
Mike,
that
that's our
defense rolling.
We do love him.
Obviously not. You went against your boy.
No, I went against Nick Sirianni. But, Al's, bro, can you admit that this win streak they're on, they've played literally no one?
Who have the Commanders beat?
Look
at the last 4 wins of the Commanders.
I got Pittsburgh. I think everyone does, either as in a top 4 AFC team.
Yeah.
They took that team to the brink. Pittsburgh's defense has been incredible. They scored, 27 against them?
At home.
They're going to put up at least 27 against the Eagles tonight.
They might.
At least. The Eagles' defense and the Steelers' defense are in two different stratospheres.
Their last 4 wins, Luke, the Giants, the Chicago Bears, Carolina, and Deshaun Watson's Cleveland Browns.
Look, you can say the same thing for Philly. What is Philly's last 4?
The Phillies' last 4, probably. They're
Jackson,
both played
probably.
not a lot of good teams. They beat the Bengals a couple weeks ago. That's a big win.
The Bengals are not good. That's not a big win. That team is what? 1 game below, 2 games below, 4 and 6?
4 and 6, yeah.
Hey, I'm just saying, the Eagles, I think they're putting things together now. Vic Fangio's got that defense rolling.
He does.
That offense is putting up almost 30 points a game the last 5.
They're healthy, man.
Nick Sirianni's going to jam you guys.
Lots of weapons. Listen,
he's going to be arguing with a fan.
I think it's a tough spot for a rookie quarterback short week within the division.
You know what a tough spot is, Hayes?
What's up?
A rookie quarterback being drafted to the Washington Commanders. Mm-hmm. But this man is, 4th in MVP odds right now?
Yeah, and I think
he
that's
might be first after tonight.
I think it's a big opportunity for him. But I think, they got a new owner, new coach, new quarterback. The Commanders, the voodoo's still in there, man. It's just like the Jets. What have I told you? Overtime, the Jets will Jets.
Don't
Overtime,
put that on Jaden Daniels.
The Washington football team will suck the life out of you.
You think so?
I think it's
Partsy, you're good with it, though.
Possible. I think it's very possible.
Speaking of the Jets parts, what did you think of your boy? He wants to come back for 25.
I'm telling you, I think he should. I think he should so that I could at least sit here and be an Aaron Rodgers apologist for one
Please
more
do.
year.
I hope he does just for you so I could hammer against the Jets
now,
next
can
year.
you at least admit now that you would take Aaron Rodgers over Dak
Prescott?
But
it's a non-conversation because Dak got hurt.
Even if he was healthy.
If Dak was healthy, I'm still sticking by that in the regular season. I am sticking by that. And I believe if Dak was healthy with the New York Jets, the Jets would probably be a 500 club.
This has got to be the most depressing time to be a Jets fan. Because what are your prospects now?
Well, you have nothing.
You have all these
old guys. It's just like
guys,
the Cowboys.
And you have nothing to look forward to now.
To be honest,
you're the Jets.
I would love to know how the whole Robert Saleh firing went down.
That's Woody Johnson embarrassed in London. That's what it
I don't
smells
buy
like.
that one. I don't think anyone would fire a coach for that nonsense, Hayes.
I mean,
man.
I know I'm preaching the choir here, but having a coach, like you look at Mike McCarthy, speaking of the Cowboys, Micah Parsons saying what he said about Mike McCarthy after the game was wild to me. I can't even fathom. I don't know.
Him saying like Mike can go and I worry more about Zach
Martin.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, that was arguably the most disrespectful thing I've ever heard a player say about a coach.
Imagine someone saying that about Belichick.
Correct. Never. You'd be gone the next day.
Right.
You'd be like Robert Saleh. I was a youngster, but was a coach for us in Seattle my rookie year when we won it. I played against his defenses. I saw how tough, how physical, how much the guys loved him, and you could see it when he was in New York as well.
Mm-hmm. He was not the reason they were having issues.
I cannot believe that firing a guy that is so well loved and respected and a defensive guy, and at the time, not anymore, at the time your defense was definitely not the problem.
Yep.
And I think it's
the ownership, man.
It's bad.
That's why the Jets and the Cowboys, it's very similar. Their owners they have no idea what they're doing, and they cannot get out of their way. And that's a prop for you. Who wins more games next year, assuming Dak is healthy and Rodgers returns and is healthy? Jets or Cowboys?
Cowboys.
Dude, I hate both.
I don't know,
I hate both, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
The Cowboys' defense is real bad.
I mean, so it was good.
No
last
run
year.
game, no weapons.
Dan Quinn was there. Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn was there.
There you go. Way to bring it back.
That's true.
Dan Quinn's on tonight too, Frankie.
All right, you guys are.
We're live.
You're taking the points. You're on the Commanders plus 3.5. Yes, House Brother, the orchestra.
I wish people could see
the maestro. House Brother is the maestro.
He's the grin on his face right now.
So happy right now.
Makes my head want to explode.
I love it.
Fly, Eagles, fly, boys.
Fly, Eagles, fly. Bob Cobb, the maestro. He's loving being on the Eagles tonight. All right, Luke. We'll catch you in the group chat tonight.
Can't wait.
Can't wait for it. And we got a full slate tomorrow. Big ball games tomorrow.
Yeah.
Big ball games in terms
Frankie,
of what's going to happen Sunday.
We're about to get hot.
Go time.
We're about to get hot.
It feels like an Eagles win by a touchdown tonight and an immaculate week, Alice, brother. That's what I'm calling right here, right now for Hayes and Bro. All right, OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.
I don't know what I'm seeing is for real, but have you seen some of the pics and videos of the car details and for Taylor Swift coming to T-Dot?
That's crazy, man.
Dude.
It is crazy what is happening
Isn't a
downtown.
security van, I don't know. I didn't know it was like a presidential type car thing.
Yeah.
Isn't like a black truck with a security guard in it good enough?
She got the full police escort down the 427 from the airport today. I guess she flew in this afternoon, which is also a baller
crazy
move.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a, you've been on tour so long, you're like, I'll fly in when I fly in. And just bring me to the stadium, and I'll make it pop.
Oh, yeah.
No nerves. No,
I
should be there the night before. Nothing.
It's a business trip, one of many for
business
her.
transaction.
No mic check, no nothing.
Nothing. Private bird, New York, right into Pearson, and it's go time tonight. And I keep getting notices from different people because my wife's buzzing about everyone in the city that's not going. They want to try to find a way to get there. It's too late. The concert is in 2 hours. But it's there might be something online. There might be new tickets available.
Might be what?
I don't know. I have no idea. But
there's tickets available, but you guys, there's 7 G's a pop.
Yeah, you'll have to reverse mortgage your house to get one.
Right. And obviously we're not doing that. And I think no one should be thinking that way. But someone's, bit the bullet here and paid for these tickets. And some people got them naturally through Ticketmaster or whatever it is. Because when they became available, some people got them and some people got them, I'm sure, gifted to them.
At the beginning that they were $500 or $600 or something.
Yeah, exactly. It's it's a big event. It's like going to a big Leaf game. If you want platinums for a Leaf game, you're not getting those for $150. You're going to have to pay for that. And when they became available, people obviously bought them. But I'm curious how many seats are just going to be unoccupied because of someone trying to sell them that they didn't sell them, and then what do you do? Or how many people have tickets and just aren't going to show up, or I don't know why you
what
would
happened.
Do that,
I always think that when I'm at a Leaf game and I look down and there's a row of 7 seats that are empty. It's who has those tickets that A, didn't sell them or just wasted them? It's crazy to me.
Well, and there are people with so much money that probably did get tickets, and they're I'm not feeling great tonight. We're just not going to make it.
And I'm not going to bother trying to sell them.
Right.
They got no one to give them to.
Whatever. I paid $10,000 for a 4-pack, and we're just not going to make it tonight. Imagine having that much money.
I don't think that's going to happen with Taylor Swift. There's probably, I would bet there's a chunk of people that are down there sniffing around to see if they can grab something 15 minutes into the concert.
That's the play. But I don't think there's people on the street selling tickets. I don't know if that industry exists anymore. It feels like you have to be online. But you talk about sweating it out. If you paid for tickets and you've been trying to gouge people for 6 months or a year, and now it's almost go time and no one's, taking the bait, you are sweating it out.
Sweating, bud. Sweating.
You put your card down and bought tickets for $2,000 and you've been trying to get 10 and no one's biting.
Serves you right for trying to gouge people.
I hear you, but
serves you right.
It is the ultimate sweat if you're sitting there saying, I got to lower these prices, and how low am I going to go before I either can't sell them or I lose money? It is a gamble for some people the next 2 hours.
I never understood that, man. I know people that do this thing where they got to buy up the tickets and then they sell them. Who wants that headache? How profitable could that really be?
I don't know. I mean, Al's brother said on StubHub there's 250 tickets still available for tonight, or 250 listings. So that means there are people. Now, they could be anywhere in the world. That's another thing, which sucks. If you're from Toronto and you want to go to the shows, there could be someone from Peru that's holding a 4-pack of tickets right now. And, they're trying to gouge whoever it is.
Some oil tycoon in the Middle East has 4 Taylor Swift tickets in Toronto tonight.
Who's going? Because they're not going. You know what I mean? I don't know what happens with the return policy if you don't decide to go or no one bites the bullet. But someone is going to buy tickets, you're right, Frankie, at 9:15 tonight for cost or below and miss the first 15 songs.
I'm on StubHub right now. I'm going to look and see like what's cooking.
You think you can find something reasonable?
I don't know.
You know what's amazing is to get McDavid's in town on Saturday. There will be Leaf fans and Oiler fans doing the same dance on Saturday night. People wanting to go to the game. Like, that is the ultimate ticket, I think, for the
Dude, is
Leafs.
she performing Saturday too?
Yes, tonight, tomorrow, and Saturday. The Raptors play tomorrow at Scotiabank. The Leafs and Oilers are on Saturday night.
I honestly, the idea of going down there in some capacity, I couldn't do it. I could not do it.
It'd be crazy.
Like if somebody said, I'm going to treat you to a free meal at the best restaurant in the world, and it's right down there in that mess. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do the traffic.
The pregame on Saturday for Leafs, Oilers, and Taylor Swift will be unlike anything we've probably ever seen.
No,
because
I want nothing to do with that.
No, although it's a great game. Like I would love to go to that hockey. I'm thinking about going, but what's stopping me from walking into that building is the Taylor Swift stuff.
I'll tell you what's stopping me. You guys know I live a little bit west of the city. I think of Lakeshore and the Gardner on the way down there, just for like the C&E alone. It was outrageous.
Yeah.
Nightmare fuel, man.
Crazy, man. Yeah. Saturday night at like 4:30, 5
Watch
o'clock.
Out. I'm going to go and look. I'm just going to go right up Royal York and look over the bridge and just laugh.
Yeah. Take a picture and tweet it out.
You like section 510?
At the Dome?
Yeah, 510. Sure. It's way up there.
Is that standing room only?
No, it's
restricted view.
Row 25.
Let me guess, 2,500 each.
You're pretty close. It's 1844 each. 25 rows up, section 510. So you're in the condo buildings on Bremner
for $4,000
for 4 G's.
$4,000
plus, because then there's taxes,
you're in the
service
condos.
fees.
I'll bet you that's restricted view too. I'll bet you half the concert you can't even see her. You couldn't see her from up there anyway.
No,
I mean ultimately, like I went to see we went to the concert in Detroit, and we were in the lower bowl, like not on the floor, lower bowl, 30 rows up. And you could see her, but it wasn't like a personal show.
So you didn't get the old. I know we went in Detroit, but I'd like you to make this happen. You didn't get that one.
No, I did. What do you mean for the Toronto show?
Yeah, you didn't get that from the.
Oh yeah. Oh, the pressure. The pressure's still on, man. Tonight's a strike, and that's what I was saying at 4 o'clock. What's gonna be? I can tell you what's gonna happen tonight. I'm gonna watch the football game. And I'm gonna be in bed. My wife is gonna roll over or be beside me and say, "Look who was at the show tonight," and then I'm gonna have to somehow explain why that's my fault or something.
No, I don't think you're gonna get that pick. You're gonna get a pick of a pricing that's somewhat reasonable.
That's
any
possible.
interest?
That's possible. Hey, this just came available for the show tomorrow night. For $1,800 cash.
That's where you got to say that could be fraudulent though.
That's
not a real link.
You have to be on high alert.
Like if we couldn't get them the original link, then I don't want to risk it, right?
Yeah, like the brag posting is going to be outrageous for the next 10 days. Like the people that are in the show are just going to shove it right down your throat, letting everyone know I'm here. And
best
you have to own
night of my life
of all time.
And someone's sitting on their couch going, wow, I could have had the best night of my life too if my husband wasn't so cheap.
Exactly. If this guy actually ponied up and paid $4,000 for those tickets, I could have had the greatest night of my life. But yeah.
Oh, she was wanting the full meal deal, kids too.
No, man. Listen, my wife's very reasonable. Like she knows what's going on. If you won the tickets or something, then I would pay face value for good seats. I'd be willing to do that. I'm not paying $5,000 to go see a concert. No chance. And that never came up. And even if it did, that would have been shot down quickly. But that wasn't going to happen. But yeah, to your point, I mean, like my youngest is 5.5 years old. She's not going to a Taylor Swift concert. Like she wouldn't be able to get through it tonight. It's a long show, man. It's a 3-hour bonanza of screaming for 3 hours straight.
Kind of crazy that
it's a wild show.
Like she does that every night on the road with all the travel and stuff. How much do you want to bet she's not even staying in Toronto? Couldn't she just hop on the bird, go back to New York, come back tomorrow afternoon?
She could. I mean, I don't see why you would do that, but she could. Like she could private bird it and be, Midtown Manhattan by 12:30.
Guys, think
about
this.
Like a taxi cab.
Yeah.
Second element Al's brother just brought up. Where are you going to park your car? Like, where are you going to park your car?
And you talk about gouging. Parking downtown tonight will be $250 cash mandatory. The best thing is there's going to be guys like doing the drop-offs, because I saw this when we were in Detroit, like the dad's dropping off the mom and daughter or whatever. And this guy's trying to make his way through restricted zones.
No, he's not going anywhere. And he'll be in a pretzel soon.
That's the problem. You take a turn down a street you're not supposed to, like Bremner or something, and the cops are like, where do you think you're going with that drop-off?
You get some hillbilly from up north of Sudbury or something down there wheeling around in a pickup. It will be a gong show.
If you lived in one of those condos on Bremner, you should get a sign. And you know the people like outside the pizza places that spin the sign around?
Yes.
Like come in for the $5. Come into my parking garage, take my parking spot for the night. I'll take $250 cash.
You could pay rent for
no
the
problem.
month. You could pay rent for the month over the next 6 dates that she's here. But you're right. Some guy's going to pull up in an F-150.
Get the pizza sign out there on Bremner.
Yeah.
F-150, rat tail and a mustache, and he's going to be like, I'm going down the one-way street, and you're going to watch this because I'm not doing this.
And then I have a bar labeled somewhere on the Danforth that his buddy told him about from the 80s. And he's like, I'll pick you guys up in 3 hours in the exact same spot I dropped you off.
That's right.
The exact same spot, and then we're going right back to Sudbury.
That's right.
Tonight.
And I will be swerving all over that 400. Let's rock.
I love that guy already. I don't even know who he is, but I feel like I do. All right. We've got Pierre LeBrun coming up. My list, Dear Hazy B. Or it's not Dear Hazy B. It's Hazy B's list coming up at 6:30. And more on the Leaf win last night. Very impressive win in Washington last night. Overdrive continues, TSN 1050 and on TSN 4. All right, Pierre LeBrun, our TSN Hockey Insider, coming up. I've got my 5-pack of the underpant cam coaches in pro sports. Who is on it?
Any hockey guys?
Yes.
Yep.
I have
multiple hockey guys.
2 hockey guys on there.
Have you seen this, Jeff?
No, he doesn't know who's
I'm
on
just
my
guessing.
list.
I'm just guessing. At least 2 hockey guys.
Do you know who they are? You want to take a guess?
I think I got one.
Who do you think it would be?
Lalonde?
No, that's an interesting one in Detroit because you're right. He's been there a few years. They're not, although they won in overtime in Pitt last night.
They beat Pittsburgh in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you really like? I just watched that team and I'm like, what are the expectations more than what they do? Like that's what I don't know.
I'm with you with Detroit and Pittsburgh, quite frankly, both teams. Like Detroit is just a mishmash of players makes no sense to me. Yeah. Like I don't know what Yzerman is really building. Even the goalies who have been very good. Cam Talbot's 37 or 38.
Well, here's one other thing, Hayes. Those young guys, like Dylan Larkin, he can't just be kind of a good-looking player out there. He's got to be a stud. You know what I mean? And Mason Raymond, you got the money, you got to be a stud. And the Cider, who got absolutely walked last night, it's like you've got to be a stud.
Mm-hmm.
Like, did you guys just think that you deserve the money and then you just mail it in and say thanks a lot? Like, you got to be studs for the team to take the next step.
I agree, but if you're not a stud, you're not a stud. That's the thing, man. We talk about these teams, Detroit, Ottawa, Montreal, all the time, and it's the same thing. Like Suzuki and Larkin and Stützle. Like, can you get to the level of where Barkov and Matthews and Point are? Within your division? Can you do that?
Better than those guys on a nightly basis? Like, you're the best player, you got to be better than the other team's best player.
Or give your like a coin. Can it be a coin flip on a lot of nights? That's what you're looking for.
That's what you're hoping for, but it just never seems to happen, and I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, Detroit's like all these veteran guys on this team of some young guys. So that's why you would think, okay, shouldn't they be? Don't they think they want to make the playoffs? If you have all these vets, that's why I think there would be pressure. That's why I brought up that.
Yeah, no, I think Lalonde's a guy that should be facing. I think Yzerman should be facing him more than Lalonde, but he's the one that hired him, and I put some thought into him, but he is not on the 5-pack. He's not on the list. All right, Al's brother obviously was sent somewhere in the city with a pair of Leaf tickets. Leafs Golden Knights, November 20th. You ready for the final clue of the week of Al's brother?
Hit me.
All right, Leaf fans, it's Thursday. Time for your final clue to find out where is Al's brother. Now, I'm not much of a picture taker myself, but this place is considered to be a photographer's paradise, especially during cherry blossom season.
Oh, cherry blossom.
All right.
Cherry blossom.
Hyde Park. He's Hyde Park.
Yeah, you're at Hyde Park. All right. Well, hey, listen, tomorrow you got to tune in for the cue to call and basically tell Doogie that it's High Park and you win tickets.
I'm doing it all next week. I'm picking the spot and I'm doing the clues.
Okay.
Thank you, because you'll never guess. You'll never guess.
I mean, we kind of need people to be able to guess by the end, but I agree with your belief that the first 2 or 3 clues should not be automatic.
Hayes, you're the host of the show. You've guessed the location on the first day every week.
Yeah, I know. It is a bit concerning.
That's concerning.
We need a little bit of a higher difficulty.
I'm hijacking it, and I'm coming up with the location and where it's gonna blow your mind where this cat's gonna be hiding out. He's gonna be in some grubby
bar in Kensington Market.
grubby ass spots.
Yes, it'll be the worst bar you've ever seen off the Danforth that may not exist anymore. Finehouse Brother is brought to you by McAlpine Ford in Aurora. Our family, the Ford family, and you. Full details at tsn1050.ca. All right, Pierre LeBrun coming up. Back into the Leaf win last night and the Thursday nighter tonight. Eagles Commanders in Philly. And I've got a list for you, and I've got my best bets. Same game parlay for the Thursday nighter tonight. OverDrive continues, TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.